Welcome back YouTube. My name is Dennis Panuta for tutorials.eu. In this video we are going to look into data conversion with lists. So far we have seen how to do that with strings and floats and strings together, but this time we're going to use lists to convert them into strings and strings to convert them into lists. So let's say we have this students list here, which is going to contain Max again, Max, then Monica, we have Eric, and finally Francisca. So now we have this list of students, right? And what I want to do is I want to have them as a string. So I don't want to have them separately in 4 strings, because these are 4 different strings now within my list of students. But I can also go ahead and do the following. I can just say, okay, separate them and join them, or separate them with a hash, but join them together to one string. And what do I want to join? Students. So there is this function which you can use on strings. So this is a string, and by using the dot separator and then using the join keyword, I'm calling the join function. This allows me to run certain code. There is certain code in the background which we don't have to develop ourselves, but it's just available. This is a functionality in Python, and that will join the list elements together and will add a hash in between every single of these elements. So let's say I want to have a string which looks like this one here. So student string is going to be Max, Monica, then Eric, and Francisca. So that's my goal. That's what I would like to have, like the students string. And now as you can see, this join method already did quite a good job, but we have this hash in between, this hashtag. But I would prefer to have a comma and a empty space, or an empty space just behind that. And that is easily achieved by getting rid of this hashtag, using the comma and then the empty space. And now as you can see, we get the string that I wanted to have. So it simply went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to join every single element within the list of students. And what do I put in between? Well, a comma and a empty space. So that's how you can make a string out of a list. You can of course also go ahead and use the following approach. So you can store that. So I'm gonna students as string. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Put it together, and I'm gonna just say comma empty space dot join students, and that will create this student string. So it's going to be a variable, and I can just go ahead and print out that students as string. And as you can see, I get Monica, Eric, Francisca, and so forth. So that's exactly what we had here, but now we stored it within a string. And we could even say something like, at our uni study those people. And then we have students as string, and as you can see, at our uni study those people, Max, Monica, Eric, and Francisca. All right, so that's the approach to create a string out of a list. So now let's go ahead and check out how we can create a list out of a string. So I'm gonna create a string. I'm gonna call it I, and it's gonna contain Max, Monica, Eric, and Francisca. And now what I would like to do is to create a list out of that. So out of every single name, I would like to create a list. And that's easily possible. As you can see, we could just go ahead and type that, and it was the same here. So we could have just typed that string as we did, and that's totally fine as soon as we only have, or as long as we only have 4 names in there. But imagine you have a student base of multiple thousand people in there. Would you still like to type every single person out? I guess not. You would like to have them in a list, and then if you want to really put them in a string, then you can just go ahead and use this programmatic approach. Now the same goes for converting a string into a list. So in order to do that, we can use a method called split, or a function called split. So I'm gonna apply this split function onto my string called I. And how do I split them up? So here I have to say which pattern they have to have in order to be split. So now I'm going to split them at the point where there is a comma and an empty space. So what that will do is it will create a list for me. So I'm just going to print that out. And as you can see, it created this list with Max, Monica, Eric, and Francisca. So that's how you can create a list out of a string. Now you can use this approach to do something else as well. You can create a sentence. I'm just going to call it A, and I am a sentence with many words. So that's going to be the sentence. And now I want to split them at the empty space. So I'm just going to say print s dot, or this is called a dot split. So this, I want to split this string here, this a string. And where do I want to split it? At the empty space. So each time there is an empty space, I want to split them and put them into a list. That by itself is going to create a list of these words. So the first element of the list is I, the second one is am, and so forth. But now if I want to know the length of the sentence, I just can use this len function. So this len function is going to split, or it's going to give me the length of this split list. So we have two things happening at the same time, or actually even three things. So going from the inside out, this is going to create a list out of the string that we have, out of this a string. Then this here is going to give us the length of that list, and the print statement is simply going to print that onto the console. So let's run it again, and we can see we get the value of 7 because there are 7 words in there. I am a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 words in there. All right, so that's it with the list for now, but we're gonna check out lists or use lists throughout the course, of course. And in the next video, we are going to look into comments. So see you there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please leave a like. And if you have any questions or suggestions, then leave a comment. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. And by the way, if you really love the content and you would like to have more of it, or pretty much all of it, then of course, check out the link in the description to my whole course. See you in the next video.
We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to